Spring football may be over, but that won't stop me from talking about it. I sit down with Chris Hawkins and Deontay Burnett in studio.
And the victory bell may not be on the line, but a whole bunch of USC teams are taking on UCLA this weekend. We'll have all that and more. Sports Scene starts now. Welcome back into the luxurious Annenberg Media Center. I'm Connor McGlynn.
And I'm Keely York. USC beach volleyball, women's water polo, women's tennis, and men's tennis. What do they all have in common?
I don't know.
They're taking on UCLA this week.
I did know that. And there was one team that has to start off all of that, and it's the USC men's tennis team. They're going to be heading into Westwood for a matchup between number 6 and number 7 UCLA on Friday at 3 p.m. Now, this game has more than just bragging rights on the line, Keely. If USC can win this one, they'll earn a share of the regular season Pac-12 title.
That's right. USC has some momentum under their belt coming into this match. They're riding a 3-match win streak, most recently this weekend against Arizona and Utah. And Connor, bring out the brooms. They swept both of them. And while this team may be young, they're getting it done.
And speaking of bringing out the brooms, one of the young guys, the freshman Riley Smith, who brought out his broomstick, had a clincher in one of those matches. He's actually on a 12-match singles play win streak, something really impressive there, and being able to garner that momentum moving forward. But they haven't really played any tough opponents during those 3 matches, something that they're facing the other end of the spectrum with UCLA. We mentioned that they're number 7 in the nation. They also have a big 8 on the board right now because they're on an 8-match win streak.
That's right. And crosstown showdowns, they're always a fun affair, but this one has a lot on the line. First off, it's the rubber match between the two schools, but it also will decide the elusive first seed seeding in the Pac-12 championship coming up.
And while the men's tennis team is taking on UCLA, women's tennis is also going to be going against the Lady Bruins. However, before they get to their Saturday matchup, they have a game going on today against Pepperdine, and they know that in order to get the momentum heading into that game against UCLA, they're going to need to be able to focus on both teams.
We have a really good work ethic, I think, on this team. I think the wins this last couple weekends have got us the momentum that we really needed. And Pepperdine and UCLA obviously are really tough matches, but you know, we played UCLA earlier in the year. We were literally 1 point within winning that one. So I think we're looking good, and we've got the confidence we need to go in and do everything we can.
Kolikov mentioned that confidence, and nothing would give them more confidence than a win today, which would put them on a 5-match win streak heading into that game against UCLA.
That's right, and just like the men's team, these next games are important for seeding. The women of Troy will need to either place 4th, 5th, or 6th in seeding in the upcoming Pac-12 championship. But a team that doesn't have to worry about seeding, football. They just finished a spring game, and Lauren Dunn has more.
Well, while checking out social media this week, you may have noticed your feeds decked out in bling. Yes, at Saturday's spring game, the USC Trojans were presented with their gigantic Rose Bowl championship rings. And you can bet that they took to social media right away to show them off. Zach Banner posted this picture of his ring saying, "Best feeling in the world. Thank you, USC Athletics." Adoree Jackson also tweeted, sharing pictures posing with a bunch of his former teammates with the caption, "Mood, #Rose Bowl champs." But other athletes joined in the talk as well, from former USC nose tackle Antoine Woods Sr., who tweeted, "Where's my Rose Bowl ring? At USC Athletics, LOL." To former soccer star Morgan Andrews, who tweeted, "Just wondering, why do Rose Bowl rings come in before national championship rings? Asking for a friend." Well, Andrews raises a good question that definitely got people talking. However, that's unfortunately all the time we have for social this week. So back to you in the studio.
We got double the trouble in studio today. Joining me now are 2 stars from the offense and defense, wide receiver Deontay Burnett and safety Chris Hawkins. Thanks, guys, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so spring practice is over. What do you think both sides of the ball learned from spring practice or gained from it?
Well, from the offensive side of the ball, we learned that we have new players, and we have a bunch of guys who've never had the experience, but we've got to see them make plays out there and develop. So that's been the big thing for the offense.
First off, sorry for my slurred language. I had a dental procedure done, but
that's true dedication.
Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, I would think we just we just got better as a unit. I mean, we had 7 to 8 guys returning from last year's team, and I think we just wanted to really hone in on our craft and, really focus on making the defense better as a whole. Last spring we were learning the defense. Now that we know it, we can really hone in on certain tactics that we have to use that Coach P has given us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed this spring that the defense was ahead of the offense. Is it because the familiarity with Clancy at this point?
You can say that, but I think it was more, us just going back and forth, competing with each other. There were some days the defense won, and then some days the offense came back, and I mean, literally killed us all practice. So, us just, being able to, bring a lot of guys back is a big key. We got a lot of veteran guys out there, a couple leaders. So, that's really key, whether for the offense, they're looking for those guys to step up. They lost the 2 top receivers, 3 offensive linemen, your running back and Justin Davis. So, they're looking for guys to replace, and step in and be stars in their role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as the wide receivers go, you're kind of in a comfortable position. Who else did you see in the wide receiver group kind of step up this spring?
Well, a lot of our guys stepped up. Tyler Vaughns, Bettis Jones, Michael Pittman, Josh Mortebebe. We just have some new faces, and we have a lot of time this offseason to get comfortable with our quarterback Sam and to build a relationship with him as a whole group, so that we don't slack off. Just go in there, step up, and make plays.
In that regard, has your role changed at all? Have you taken on more of a leadership role now that guys like Juju and Darius are gone?
Well, I still treat it the same. I still know my spot, know my role. Just try to get the young guys going, and just give them words of wisdom and encouragement so they can just go in the game, go in practice, and be who they are, and not change for anybody else, but be themselves and just know that it's time to step in and make plays.
Mm-hmm. The ones are an elite level offense and defense. What's it like for you guys to go up against such elite people each practice? How does that help you for when it comes game time?
For me, it gets my confidence going, and I can tell for him and the rest of the guys that it builds their confidence as well, because we're going against each other every day in practice, and we come to USC to be the best, and when it comes to game time, it just comes with ease,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think going against an offense of our caliber, we got Deontay Burnett, you got Michael Pittman, Tyler Vaughns, Jalen Green, and the quarterback and the running back, that's a 2-man tandem in its own. So, when you're going against an offense like that has future NFL players all throughout it, it just it brings out the best in everything you do. Every day you have to come with your A game, because if you don't, then you're going to get exposed. And, every day, you try to hone in on, what can I do better? And going against guys like this, I tell you, I've had battles with this dude almost every day. There's been times where he's made me look really crazy in practice, but I know I've gotten better at that rep because I'm going against such a good dude. This is probably the best offense we're going to face all year, in our own backyard.
So Helton seems to have a great connection with his players. What's one thing about him that you guys know that would surprise other people who are looking into USC football? Putting you guys on the spot.
Well, for me, Coach Helton is a great coach. He listens to each and every one of his players, and he tries to do the best that he can to help us in whatever we need, and he supports us.
Yeah, well, something that they probably don't know, being a football team, we play rap music. I mean, almost every day, before meetings, and you would never know that he really vibes to the music. He really dances to the music,
yeah.
With us. So that's something that I find, pretty funny in its own right, but at the same time, like, he's really adapting to his players and what his players like. And I think that's something that makes him such a great coach.
Yeah, it seems like every spring you guys have a dance battle. Is it nice that he connects with you guys that way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want your coach to do. You want your coach to feel comfortable, and you want to feel comfortable around your coach. And I think he's made he's made that type of organization to where, you know, we're not scared to be around him. You know, we don't feel uncomfortable. You know, I think I can say anything to him. I think I can go to him for anything, and I think he comes to me for anything he needs done within the team. You know, he has a certain group of guys that he comes to, and, you know, we get things done for him.
Chris, you're going into your redshirt senior year.
Yes.
What do you feel like you need to prove or you need to put out there on the field for?
Just play good football. You know, a lot of guys, you know, they want these accolades and these stats, but, you know, I want us to win as a team, because when we're winning as a team, you know, everybody's doing good.
Right.
You know, when you look at nationally, when you're winning national championships, you know, and Rose Bowl championships, a lot of your guys get drafted higher. So I think as a team, if we're winning, you know, getting to the Pac-12 championship, winning the Pac-12 South, then going on to whatever it is, we may go on after that. You know, everything comes centerfold for your team, and then I think that helps players in the long run.
Yeah, like you said, you have high expectations for yourself next season. I mean, the world kind of has high expectations. How do you manage that, especially coming off of such a great win at the Rose Bowl?
I think we just take it day by day. I know we've never been a team to get too high or get too low. You know, we started off 1-3. Everybody knows that. But we were never, you know, down facing our laps. That's not the type of organization that this is, and Coach Helton doesn't allow us to be like that. So, you know, we always stay level-headed. I mean, we're always, you know, in between. We're never too high, never too low, and I think that's part of the reason that we were able to go on a 9-game win streak.
All right, well, thanks, guys, for joining me. It might be a long wait, but you can catch these guys and the rest of the team when they take on Western Michigan at the Coliseum on September 2nd.
A couple more teams that are facing off against UCLA this weekend are women's water polo and the USC beach volleyball team. Being able to talk about that is Alexa Palermo right here, and then across the stage we got Savannah Boone and Ben Albert. Guys, let's get straight into it. It's a couple 1-2 matchups, a little bit differentiating between which school holds the 1 and 2, but I'm going to get right into the heart of it. We got number 1 UCLA against number 2 USC water polo. And then on the other side of things, on the sand, we got number 1 USC going against number 2 UCLA. So when we look at it, which matchup is really more important?
I'm going to start us off. I have to go with water polo. Both teams are super strong, but beach volleyball is just unstoppable. You got Clays, you got Hughes. They haven't lost in 2 calendar years, so I think it's just a given that they're going to come out with this win against UCLA this weekend. But I think the bigger matchup is water polo, because they've been riding a 52-game win streak before their loss to Stanford, so that was kind of a blow. Lost some momentum, but they're fresh off a win, 6-3. I think it's going to be a good battle. I mean, you got Harlebita's sisters in there killing it on offense, but I think it's just going to be a bigger matchup for water polo.
Savannah, I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to use some of the things you mentioned in the flip side. I think it's a bigger matchup for beach volleyball, because of the fact that they haven't lost in 56 matches. I think a loss would be stunning. It would come at a really bad time going into the NCAAs. For water polo, I do think it's a huge game. There's no doubt about that. But they've already beaten UCLA this year, and although they did lose to Stanford, they did bounce back and beat number 5 Cal recently. So I think it's a little less of a given that water polo is going to go into UCLA on the road and win. I think that you have to look at beach and say, defend the home turf, get this last game, get this win against crosstown rival, and at number 2, they're one of the few teams that might have a chance to beat beach volleyball. I think it's more important for beach to bring it home and keep their momentum going in, whereas with water polo, you could say, okay, you know, at this, even though it's tough, you know, they've experienced that already this year.
Okay, so Ben's looking a bit at the postseason. Savannah's looking at the now. Alexa, you gotta split the difference for us here.
Well, then I'm definitely going to get some flack for this one. I agree with both of you.
Oof.
I honestly, you really can't compare the two sports. They're both at a point in their season that these games matter so much. And I think when it's 1 and 2, they matter that much more. On the sand, the women haven't lost. They're unstoppable, but what if they do lose? What if they lose to UCLA? That's going to ruin their season. Over in the water, they're coming off a loss to Stanford, which hurt their season, and now they're tied at 2nd with Stanford. And so if they could upset UCLA, that's really going to bring their season back into the spotlight and back where they want it to be. So I think it would be unfair to both teams to choose one, as both of these matchups are super important to where their seasons are going to go.
Okay, so obviously because they're two different sports, you can't really compare them, but I'm asking you right now to give me a comparison. Which one is more important?
You can't compare, Connor. You just
Okay,
can't do
so
it.
Alexa loses this round. I'm going to vote water polo. So water polo gets the 2-1 win for the more important matchup. If you are over in Westwood, guys, you can catch the women's water polo game at 1 p.m. Or if you're sticking around USC's campus, head over to Merrill Norman Stadium for a 3 p.m. matchup between the beach volleyball teams.
USC women's lacrosse is 12-3 and have been dominating all season long. Here to help me break down their domination, Josh Cohen. Thanks for joining me today.
The blue pen. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so they just came off a dominating performance against the Colorado Buffs. They defeated them 11-5. It was a dominating performance. What do you got for me first play?
First play, just motion offense at its best. You see two players behind the cage, but Michaela Michael here and Kylie Drexel, two seniors, collaborating for a great goal. Little pick and roll action, delay from Drexel. Michael flashes inside, but it's Kaylee Huff, the freshman midi, that gets the goal.
Okay, well, let's look at this first slide. What are you seeing here?
I'm seeing a whole lot. Jackson will tell you, I watched this minimum 50 times the other night. So you have Michaela Michael, prolific goal scorer, arguably the best in the country, drawing two buffs. We'll put X's on the buffs here.
Okay.
Right? Now you see Kylie Drexel, kind of a roll there into this area here, more towards the flank.
Okay.
Now, all of a sudden, as you watch Kaylee Huff here, look now to the eyes, always on Michael, but two players, and now a little bit of isolation here. Someone's going to have to slide. That player is Marie Moore, number 2 for the Buffs. So that's what I'm seeing here, and I'm keeping an eye on the midi Huff in the middle.
Okay, so next slide. Now what? What happened?
Yeah, now all of a sudden you don't see Michaela Michael, one of the best goal scorers in the country. Where'd she go? Well, she's out of the picture. This is her shadow up here. I'll even circle that. But now all of a sudden you got a couple Buffs that are going to have to track back here, but also account for Michael. And now more airtight coverage here. This is good stuff on Drexel. But now all of a sudden it gets tricky because now Huff is in the middle, but now perimeter play. How do you account for these, especially when Michael's going to dive inside? Plus, key to the motion offense is when you have those two players behind the cage. Drew Jackson and Gabby Klein are chilling there behind, still a threat. So now that's what I'm looking at, watching Huff, watching that she's not moving as much, but she's still in a dangerous goal-scoring position right there in the net mouth.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then how did it develop from there?
When Michaela Michael dives inside here, it's officially on. And for the Buffs, it's officially over. This is a goal, you can see it coming. Michaela Michael here flashes inside, and now problems. Because the slide, as I mentioned, it already came from Marie Moore. That was fine. But now, oh no. Oh no. Molly Rouser, what do? You have the perimeter, and you have two players to account for. Really tricky situation for the Buffs here. Rouser's going to have to slide up on here. Now Huff is isolated in the middle, and it ends up being an easy goal right on the welcome mat for the freshman Kaylee Huff. That is the key to this motion offense, is getting a midi wide open in the middle somehow, some way. 4 sets of eyes on these two players. Keely, someone's open. It's number 37 in white.
Oh,
great goal.
Let's take one more look at it again.
It's incredible. It's my favorite goal of the season. Michaela Michael here again. They combined so well, those two seniors. There's Michael flashing inside. Huff makes herself available. Again, she didn't do a tremendous amount of running on the play, but always in a dangerous position, and they end up losing track of her.
Mm-hmm. So they're dominant on offense. I have a feeling they're dominant on defense. What play do you got for me next?
It's what makes them great. It really is. This next play, you might watch it and say, Josh, that's a little mundane. Why are you showing me this? Colorado here working the ball around the perimeter. Again, nothing too exciting. Double team. What's that? Another double, including by Gussie Johns. Check out that. And now another double team throws the ball away. That shot clock, Keely, it's still running. Now you have to recycle, regroup. Not an easy thing to do when playing a defense like this.
Not something you want. I know that.
No,
for sure. Okay,
not at
so
all.
What are we seeing right here?
Well, it's very simple right here. 1 Buff, 2 Trojans. Very simple. Again, everyone's accounted for. If you go behind the cage, you're not in a goal-scoring position, so you're fine there. Everyone is accounted for. And right here, again, where are you going to go? Going to pass inside? I don't think so. Got to continue to delay, run a more down-tempo offense, working around the back of the cage, because there's no angle to pass or shoot anywhere really incisively. Now, once again, they're behind the cage, and they're saying buff here, buff here. Both sticks are up for USC. So it's not so much a double team, it's both sticks in the passing lane.
They're making their lives hard.
Making their lives hard. And guess who else does that? Gussie Johns, maybe the best netminder in the country.
Wow.
Always aware, always having that peripheral vision, knowing where the threat is, where's the next pass going to go. Well, this right here, maybe not a dangerous pass because all of a sudden, oh no, next slide, another double team. So you pass it out here now. You continue to work it around the perimeter. I see once again 1 Buff and 2 Trojans. Now where's your pass? A lateral pass here, that's no threat. I see a defender there. I see a defender there. You could go back again, try to recycle. Shot clock's continuing to dwindle. Ends up throwing a low percentage look, kind of throws it away. Nearly went out of bounds on the far side.
Wow.
So it's USC just doubling. Very simple, but their attentiveness really, their commitment and their understanding at the defensive end, really something special on display.
All right, well, now that we saw that from you, let's take one more look at it again.
Oh, let's do it. Again, you're looking now maybe hopefully and saying maybe not so boring. Because it just looks like they're working it around and they squander possession and it's not the coolest play ever. But look at the angle and spatial denial by all of the USC defenders. Coach Monday will tell you that is the key. You win it at the defensive end. Colorado did not score a goal in the second half of this game. That was a big reason why.
That's huge. You said defense is mundane, but it also wins you championships.
Yes, it
Where
does.
do you think this team is going?
To the Natty. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, of course. Well, thanks for joining us, Josh. You can catch the women of Troy as they head up north for their season finale. First on, they take on Stanford on Friday at 5. Now, you just saw the Coliseum back there, but what you didn't see was renovations to the Peristyle Inn. The first round of renovations are underway, and Connor, there's a lot of demolition that's been happening so far.
Spot on. There's a lot of demolition that you can't see in this first picture because we're going to give you a little compare-contrast action. This picture is from early on in the middle of the season. You can see over at the Peristyle Inn, like you mentioned, Keely, both the video boards flanking the flames, the USC Credit Union logos, as well as the signage directly below the torch.
Yeah, so that's what it looked like this season. Let's take it now to a more recent time, April 6th. Look at that. One of the screens is already halfway gone. The Peristyle, it's got a nice little facelift over there. That's probably going to get some renovations too. But what's it looking like more recently, Connor?
Okay, so the week after that, the day of the spring game, we see this picture here on April 15th. You can see the one TV board that was coming down is now completely down. And then obviously the other one on the left-hand side of your screen is showing a little bit of more destruction coming down.
More destruction.
More destruction.
Well, here at Sports Team, we like to get you the most up-to-date info. So we have a picture from today of the Coliseum. Look at this. There's a crane out there. What is that going to be doing? We don't even know. Maybe adding those screens to the other side.
Or adding more destruction.
Maybe so. And that Coliseum, the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, make sure you cherish that name. There will be new naming rights for the Coliseum pretty soon.
That's what we're hearing, and that would be a sad sight to see for this city and for such a historic building like the Coliseum. So many memories, Olympics, World Series, everything along those lines. To be able to put a brand name along with it, I don't really see how anything can really overcome the brand name of the Coliseum.
You're definitely right about that.
But thanks for joining us this week. That's all we got for you.
Be sure to tune in next week for our season finale, Connor, us seniors. You're not going to see much of us, especially me, because this is my last time anchoring. I just want to thank everyone at Sports Team for just letting me be me and figure out how to anchor and report, and also EP, and I'm really thankful for the time I had here.
Thank you. I speak for everyone, and along the lines of saying that this show wouldn't be anything that it is today without you being on air, all of your work in the studios, and all of your preparation work that no one will ever see. So thank you for everything you've done for us here, allowing this show to really grow.
Well, thank you. Well,